Okay. We're up and almost live.
We've got the YouTube version going right now, and we're going to be hopefully going live on Facebook here shortly.
Right. Starting the video. You're live.
We're live.
It's up and running.
It didn't give me a countdown, so
okay.
it says
All right,
you're
no
live.
countdown this morning. Hey, that's kind of like what you do to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, it appears that we are live on Facebook, and we are also filming with our standard camera. So this will be for those of you that can't chime in on Facebook. It will be on YouTube. Hopefully, if everything goes right by the end of the weekend. So welcome to our live training session.
LTS for September.
September, yeah. Months are flying by.
Yeah. Yesterday was National Coffee Day, in case anybody didn't notice.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it, but I got a notice in an email that someplace I could get coffee for free because it was National Coffee Day. Of course.
They talked to the wrong guy.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee, so
Morgan's on
I don't know
from
who sent
Sweden.
it to me.
Morgan Stoltz from Sweden. Hey, Morgan. How
Hey,
are you,
Morgan.
buddy? All right, so good. We got things going.
Oh, Aunt Mary's on.
And Aunt Mary. Good morning, Aunt Mary. Okay, so first Dad's gonna do a demo. I'm gonna do a demo. It's gonna be a little bit different than what we normally do. Normally, Dad will do his. I'll get out of the way. But our demos today, we're both gonna sit right here through the whole thing, so we can interact with each other and with you guys while we're right here at the bench. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about as people are chiming in. First one was just a thank you to everybody for all the great comments on the John Peters Rolling Hills series that we did. I think it was 7 different videos. So John Peters has a big YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to John, number one, for letting me do that sign for you. And everybody seemed to kind of like that format of doing multiple videos on one project, which we'll be doing again very soon. So
On bigger signs, or
not necessarily on bigger signs, but
and I'm going to show you, by the way, how we hang big signs. Give you a couple of little hints on the way we suggest you hang signs. There's nothing carved in stone, but just a couple of suggestions on how to hang signs.
yeah, and we don't install. I mean, that's a question that we get once in a while too. Is we don't install signs. I don't think we ever have.
Well, we have on rare occasions we have, but normally we don't. We just make them and give you hints on how to install them if you want to. But we don't do installations.
Right.
Morning, Zad. Sorry, that was directed at me.
Zad.
Probably Mandy too. Hi, Mandy.
Zad and Mandy. Another thing that I had was remiss in doing, our interview with Dan and Michelle Santolucido over in California. I didn't mention Dan's Facebook page. His Facebook page is Double Barrel Carved Wood. So everybody go check his stuff out. He does those Adirondack chairs, which you guys saw in the video, which are just phenomenal, just great. He's a great sign carver, and we just had a blast with him and Michelle
They're
over
both
there.
funny as hell.
Yeah, we
had a good time.
We had a really fun time with them. So thank you guys for all the great comments, and thank you Dan and Michelle for that. But definitely go check out Double Barrel Carved Wood, and he's on Instagram too. I think it's Double Barrel Signs on Instagram. So that is, that is about it for that. We got people chiming in, obviously. Oh yeah, Vicky's waving at me. We have shirts. Check it out. We've got different colored shirts, not just the drab old gray. So we
have gray too, but
but
Can you see mine?
yeah, I
Yep.
can see them all.
So we've got, and then we have another color. So we have the gray, and then these 3 colors as well. We don't have them all in stock right now, but we got a big shipment coming. So if you're interested, I don't know, what do they do?
Let me know.
Yeah,
Let me know.
get a hold of Vicky. Email Vicky with davesigns@gmail.com.
You can never
It's a
remember my email. That's so
I'm
funny.
used to saying mine. Okay, so that's that. Dad, it is. I think you are up for your demo. So
Okay,
do it.
as I mentioned, I just going to give you some hints on hanging signs. Now, on a regular sign that's not a huge sign, this is what we've kind of always recommended. Can you see this, Vic?
I can see everything fine.
Kind of what we've always recommended. We just put a couple of little screw eyes in the top, and then we use screw eyes, same size screw eyes, and just a couple of S hooks. And once you put the S hook in, you can just take a pair of pliers, close that S hook, and you got a really nice way to hang a sign. And this is the way we hang and recommend that you hang the smaller signs.
Hold it up. Just keep it there for a second.
They can be, you can hang them any way that you want.
Turn it. Just see if I can get a better zip on
Which
that.
way are you going to turn?
Yeah, that way. No. Stop it. The other way. No, the other way. That corner.
We're doing a hula sign here.
Okay, be still.
You're gonna get.
You're gonna get
You're
smacked.
gonna get
I
the
will walk
stink
over
eye.
there.
So then you moved it again. So turn
No,
it.
it's
Queen is
fine,
going to
it's fine.
disinherit me here.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, when we make a sign like this, and we send it out to our customers, we put a little package of the S hooks and the screw eyes in with the sign. We give these away. You don't have to, but they're pretty cheap. It's a nice gift when you make a sign and send it to somebody. It's just a nice gift.
I have
But they're
a
pretty
question.
cheap if you're not buying them individually at Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yeah, we buy
we buy them
them
in
at
bulk.
thousands at a time.
Gus, hold on. Gus Swindlehurst.
Yeah.
He says good evening. He's on holiday in Malta. Where's Malta?
Malta is over in one of the oceans over someplace.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
well,
it's
it's not here.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a ways away.
it's where they make falcons. You've heard of the Maltese falcon?
I was gonna say O'Meal.
No, I think
Malta.
Malta is an
Malta.
island someplace over in the Mediterranean, maybe near Greece or something like that.
Okay, sorry.
It's been a long
Side
time
track.
since my high school geography.
Thanks for tuning in, Gus.
Yeah, right.
Great to have
yeah,
you here.
Malta. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing Malta. Okay, here's another one now. I made this on a piece of 2x4, but this is representative of a thick sign. Excuse me, which would be a big sign. And what I did on this one is I drilled a 1/2-inch hole through here, and then I have a little spacer.
It's right there.
Oh, over. There you go. Oh, the other way.
It's this. Oh, it moved. It rolled on me. There. That's what you're looking for.
I have a little spacer that I drill this 1/2-inch hole, and then I put this just a little nylon spacer. You can buy these at Tractor Supply, as a matter of fact, where we bought them. And then there's a little, just a little 3/16 bolt that goes through this piece of chain, and the 3/16 bolt rests in this spacer. And what I did is I should have a piece of pipe. Now, it's just assume this is a big sign, big 2-inch thick sign. What I did is I put the chain in here, and then this is just a little cable link, and I put the chain across that, and then I have this hanging. Let's assume this was a big sign, it would be hanging on a cable. This could be an S hook, this could be anything that it's going to hang on.
Hang on the pipe, you mean?
On a pipe,
Yeah.
yeah. But again, it could hang on literally on anything.
Yeah.
But I just use this as an example of what you can do. I neither tell you need to do this. It's just one way that we recommend that you do it. It's a reasonably easy way to hang a sign. And a lot of guys just don't know how to hang signs, so they just want some ideas, and that's what this is.
And
This is
one thing
idea.
that
Go ahead.
we were talking about this before. One thing that we don't recommend is necessarily hanging a big heavy sign on a big screw eye. That's the reason we kind of came up with alternatives. So there's
I
a lot.
was going to mention that on the next one. But
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure
Screw
that's the
eye,
reason.
By the very nature, if we use a big screw eye and you put it in the top, over a period of years, as it moves, the screw eye will come loose.
Yeah.
So we don't recommend that you put just a one big screw eye on the top of a sign on both sides and hang it that way. You can do it, but just be aware that after a few years and weather conditions, that will come loose. And if it
just
comes
don't
loose and breaks, and it could break your sign. So we just don't recommend doing that. We have one alternative is there's 2 or 3 different ways to do it. Now, this is one for a sign that's not huge. It can still be a 2-inch thick sign, but if it's not huge, and then this is just a little loop that you can buy again at Tractor Supply, and this is what they call a portable link. This will hook in there, and this is threaded so that it will close up. And then you've got a solid chain link, so you can hang it that way. That's one way. I really like these portable links, by the way. I use them even on my tractor. When I'm pulling stuff on my tractor, I use these portable links. Another way.
This still isn't as preferred because you still have threads that are going down in there. So over a period of time, those will come loose as well from weather and expansion contraction.
This is for smaller signs. If you get a big sign, we don't recommend using this. Now this, you can use for almost any size sign. The only drawback to this is because you got screws going into the side of the sign this way and the back of the sign. I'm sorry. Then this is a lot more stable.
Want a drink?
Oh yeah, let me have a little drink of water. That's not gin, but it's not too bad.
You wouldn't drink it if it was gin.
Or coffee.
But another way, now, you watch when I pick this up, it will swivel just because of the way it's made. Now if you put one of these on both sides, on the front and the back, then you could use, saying this is another link that you could use between the two, and then it would hang straight if it were on there right. From the front and back, then it would hang straight. And any size sign, I don't care how big it is, you could hang it this way. This should hold a 1,000-pound sign if you wanted to hang it that way. And that's one way to do it. Then another way is this is a big chain clevis that I actually use on the tractor. And you can use something like this. They come in all different sizes. You can get a bigger one that you could fit right down over the thickness of the sign. This is a 3/4 inch screw that goes through here. So you drill a 3/4 inch hole through the sign, drop this down, put this back in, just like that. And you've got it could be 5,000 pounds. This thing could pick up a house. It could be 5,000 pounds and it would never go anywhere. And these clevises, they come in different sizes. You can get smaller ones. You get a smaller one that would fit here. You get one that would fit both of these. Or you can get a bigger one of these that will fit over the 2x4. So these come in a lot of different sizes. Again, we buy them at Tractor Supply because we like shopping there. But that's just an example of some of the different ways over the years that we've designed for installing signs. We don't do installation, or very rarely do installation. But these are just some of the suggestions we have.
Let me see that.
For you doing installation. You want to say something on that?
Yeah, another version of this, or another option for this to keep this thing from swinging, is if it's hanging, you could always, which is probably a good idea, you could always tether it from the edge of the sign over to, I'm thinking like this is like an entrance and it's a big ranch sign or something like that. You could hang it from here, and to keep it from doing that, you could put a bolt or a screw eye in the edge of your sign and then tether it over to a post that's coming down.
Or a frame, you got it inside.
A frame, yeah. And I'm thinking again, a big ranch sign that's got to deal with posts and then an overhang. So that's another way
That's
too.
if you only just want to put one on one side.
Right.
But even if you put one on both sides, outside, you still should have something keep the sign from swinging too much. So tethering it with a small piece of screw eye and a small piece of chain over to one side is still a good idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And then on the other one, where you've got the chain, we're using chain there, but you could certainly use cable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, with a loop on the end and a cable, just exactly the same way
Yeah,
as
if you
the
use
chain.
a cable, you've got to crimp it, make the loop and crimp it. Well,
Yeah.
with chain, all you gotta do is cut it. You got the link
Go
already
through the
there to
link.
run the bolt through.
Yeah,
So
just different versions, and you guys might have a better way than what we're suggesting here. But the main thing is, I just don't trust screw eyes for something that has a lot of weight to it over a period
and
of time.
one more thought: this could be put on the end so that it would. Then your circle would be here, and it wouldn't have a tendency to swing. As a matter of fact, I should have done that. I should have put one of these on the
Possible, yeah.
end.
Yeah.
But if this were moved around to the end,
If
then
you've
the
got
circle
enough
would be
room.
up this way, and
Yeah.
that way it would be a lot easier to hang too. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to have
Just
one
depending
both
on how
sides.
heavy it is, because putting a screw or a nail in here, that's going to be taking the weight. Just not if it's super heavy. I'm not sure I'd want to go into that end grain, but
Well,
that's-
you got 4 screws there, so
Yeah.
that's just.
yeah, that's definitely another
But
way to go.
that's just another way to do it.
Yeah.
Just another
Okay.
thought.
Some people are saying that they're having internet problems, glitches or whatever. Our internet is perfectly fine as of right now. There's no glitches, no hiccups, no signal loss, nothing. So
Wow.
it could just be Facebook.
Yeah,
Because
it could.
ours is
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, ours, as long as ours is good, that's all we can do. It's
Yeah.
just,
So
sorry
we
you're
didn't
having
we
any
didn't do
kind
the
of problem.
disclaimer at the beginning like we normally do. I messed that up. If this doesn't work for you guys, remember it'll be on YouTube by the end of the weekend. Well,
I
hopefully.
think you did say that.
Yeah,
But
hopefully the area you're in, you won't have any problems. We're not having any problems now. We got a strong signal, so we're not having
but
problems.
we got a long ways to go too.
Yeah,
so
we got a long ways
we'll
to
see.
go.
Knock
But
on- knock
one
on
thing
rubber.
about it, even if Facebook cuts us off like they have in the past, this will still be on a video that we'll post on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the whole thing.
Dennis, what else is his is good and this morning and his is never good.
And he's up in
not
Dennis
sure.
is in he's in one of the Dakotas. I think he's up in North Dakota, cold country up there. Okay, so that it for you, Dad?
Yeah, I don't have anything more. I just, there's probably 100 different ways you can hang signs that I haven't even suggested. You
Yeah.
can go through the front with a bolt hanging on the side of a barn,
Yeah.
So there's just 1,000 ways to hang 1,000 different signs. But this was
Yeah.
I thought this would be helpful because I get questions once in a while. Somebody want to know, well, what's the best way to hang a sign? Or I've got a 2 foot by 4 foot sign. I'm not sure how to hang it. What do you suggest?
Yeah.
These are just suggestions. There's nothing chiseled in stone. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, we've seen them where you've got obviously if you've got posts sunk into the ground where they've got dados in the
Yeah.
posts where they slide into a slot, works really really well. I think that's maybe the best ever.
Yeah, that's probably
if you've got that option.
Yeah, that's an expensive way to hang a sign, but it's really a super good way to hang
Yeah.
it.
Or just a single post with bolts right straight through.
Right
Anyway,
straight through
there's
into the post. Yeah.
so many different ways to
Yeah.
go, depending on your application.
Anyway, that's my suggestions for today.
Okay, so I will get into my side of it, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to fire up the router today. We've been doing quite a bit of that, and we're going to do a lot more in the coming week. But what I want to do is I want to touch on a video I made the other day, which was on the transfer process, how you can ink transfer, use an inkjet and transfer over to your board.
I'm just going along for the ride, but I'll make a comment if I think I need to.
I'm sure you will. I'd be shocked if you didn't. So that was video number 230 is where I showed the kind of the ink transfer over, and I was using freezer paper. And I want to kind of add on to that. I had an email from one of my friends over in the UK, Alan Moody, who's doing fantastic signs, and he made a little video that he posted on Facebook. Gosh, I think it's within the last month or two, and I want to do something in regards to that. and it's a little bit embarrassing, but and I'll kind of get into that. I'll show you. So anyway, so what I did was I had used this on 230. I used this freezer paper, and I had transferred with my inkjet onto this freezer paper. But then I got kind of some feedback, and different printers will act different ways, and sometimes the transfer paper or the freezer paper doesn't want to feed into your printer. You want me sitting down?
I do.
Well, I'm going to be up and down, up and down. Sometimes this freezer paper doesn't want to feed into your printer. So here's what you do: is just take a regular piece of paper. I don't know, what is it? 20 copy paper. And then what I did was I just put a piece of Scotch tape and I taped it on the edge, and then you feed it through your printer, and it seems to want to grab it pretty well. So this is just obviously this is reversed, and oh yeah, I got to go backwards a little bit. So the first thing you want to do is you want to especially if it's writing on there, if it's text, you need to reverse that. So rapid resizer is the way we do it. That's the way we did this one. But some of you may have software, Microsoft Publisher, or other software.
You're mirroring the image, is what it is.
What it is.
Rapid
You
resizer
said
is what?
inverted, whatever, but it's
Invert.
considered
It's mirrored.
Mirrored, yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
Rapid resizer is a program.
Rapid Resizer is a website. That's a website where you can go on, rapidresizer.com, I think, and you can go on, and it allows you to do all different kinds of things. It allows you to take an image like this. Let's say I wanted this image. I'm glad you asked that question, Dan.
Well, I'm glad I did too.
Let's say you wanted to take this image and you wanted it as big as this bench. Rapid Resizer will resize it for you like that, and then it will print it out on as many 8.5 by 11 sheets as you need, and then you just tape them together and it figures all that out for you. It's really cool. Very, very valuable if you're doing much of this stuff. There might be other
cost on that.
Rapid Resizer, you can use some of their options for free.
You can't print anything though.
I don't think you can print anything, but you can bring pictures, photographs in, turn them into drawings. But then I think in order to print, I think you have to be subscribed to it, and they've got different levels of what you can buy it.
Randy Noble says, I use Paint from Microsoft. So that's another one.
In order to invert
I
this,
guess
or
Paint, yeah.
that's a program. Yeah. Paint, and there's a whole bunch of different ones that we don't have, although we use Corel quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really like about Rapid Resizer, two things, and this isn't really a commercial, it's not supposed to be, but anyway, two things. You can bring a photograph in, and then that will automatically turn it into a line drawing, which is amazing. Which is really valuable. And the second thing is, again, if I wanted to make this as big as this bench, it would print it all out on, 8 or 10 or 12 or 14, 8.5 by 11 sheets, and then all I have to do is just put them together on that board. And I think we got the middle of the road subscription for a year. I think it was like, I don't know, I want to say it was like $20 or something. It was just well worth it. So it's a great program. But anyway, that's
$20, you recover that just one sign.
Yeah, and the time that it would save you. Oh, it's amazing. I might be wrong on that. Hell, it might be 30.
It was more like $50.
It might have been 30 or 40. I don't know. But either way, you can make it up in time on one sign. So it's well worth it. Anyway, so this is, if you're printing on freezer paper to do your transfer, this is the way that I suggest to do it. Just put it on. Now, my printer was actually exactly like Vicky's. Mine will take this freezer paper and feed it right through without putting it on this paper. But Vicky's won't do it. You got to put it on the paper like this. So that's one way. So that's Inkjet on freezer paper, and works really well. Now,
And that's just inkjet. They don't have to have a laser.
no. All of this will have. All of this will be about Inkjet, except for this one. People are asking me, does this process with the freezer paper, does it work with LaserJet? this is a laser jet, and it printed on there. Great. The problem is it doesn't transfer. This stuff is dry. As soon as you put it on, it's dry, and it's immediately dry. So even though you can print on the freezer paper, you just can't transfer. So it doesn't make any sense. This one, obviously, we didn't mirror it. But so for those of you that have asked, the laser jet on freezer paper, it don't work if you're going to try and transfer. Now, if you were just going to print it on freezer paper for whatever reason, yeah, but if it doesn't work as a transfer, it doesn't work for me. So that's a no-go, laser jet on freezer paper. Okay, so that's that. Now, and so here's...
Those down on the table?
Huh?
Can you just...
No, because I can't stack these. Otherwise, they transfer to each other. So here is... Sorry about being back and forth. So here is another way to do it. We have transferred on label backer. This is our USPS labels. So any kind of Avery label stock or any kind of label stock, you can just pull the labels off. Easy for me to do. And this is a backer, so you can print on this, and it's thick, so you shouldn't have to, huh?
Don't put it in front of your face.
So you shouldn't have to tape it like you do the freezer paper. Freezer paper is super thin, but you could print on this just fine, and then that makes a really good transfer too. Now, what I was talking about before about the on laser stock, if I took my finger and rub across here, which I'll do, see what that does? That's because it hardly ever dries. It takes a long time for it to dry.
Make sure it's on the shiny side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Make sure it's on the shiny
Greg.
side. Greg, thank you, Greg.
Wow.
I appreciate that. Yeah, make sure it's on the shiny side. And here's another tip that that I think is probably a little bit more useful. Once you print these things, print them right before you're getting ready to transfer them on the board, so they're not sitting around for a long time. Like I printed these last night for today's deal, and they would have worked, but I found it better. I went ahead and reprinted them this morning. But anyway, that's what it does on the label stock, and the same on the freezer paper. So that's another way to do it if you don't want to have those taped, the freezer paper taped. That's another way to go. Now,
Well, and if you
Good
use
morning,
labels,
Amy.
you're going to have that. That's a throwaway from labels. So if you use labels, you're going to have that
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to buy
That
freezer
was a question
paper.
that somebody asked. What about the price difference?
well,
Your daughter-in-law's on.
Amy, good morning, Amy. All the way from Escalon, California. Yes, if you have to buy labels, to do this, I wouldn't suggest that at all unless you want to throw money away.
Yeah.
But for us, we have a bunch of these label stock backers that we have stacked up. It makes great fire starter.
Yeah, because
for the
I
winter.
buy labels by the thousands.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we have.
Yeah.
So if you have label stock, then you don't need to buy freezer paper. If you don't have label stock, freezer paper is the way to go.
Well, and but the other thing is true too with the label stock, and I think the freezer paper too. You probably could wipe this off and reuse it.
That's what Frank Jenkins just said. That's
Yeah.
what he does. He wipes it off after the transfer and then he reuses
So
it.
all you need is one, theoretically, unless you're making a big
Good
sign.
point, Frank.
Yeah, unless you're making a big sign where you've got to have multiples, but that stuff wipes right off, and then you can reuse it. So
What do you wipe it off with?
paper towel, your finger.
You don't use a thinner or anything like
Oh,
that.
no.
You just wipe it off with a paper
You could
towel.
probably use one of those hand wipies, like
Sure.
that wipey,
Yeah,
wipe it off.
you just about
But if
anything will
you,
wipe
I'm
it.
just thinking, if you use some sort of a chemical on there, whether or not it would prevent it
I
from
wouldn't
Ask
use a
Frank.
chemical.
being
Frank?
reprinted.
I
What do you
wouldn't
wipe
use
it
a
off with,
chemical.
Frank?
I wouldn't use a chemical. I just use a tissue or a towel.
That way you
You know.
can reuse it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now here's the I mentioned earlier. It's kind of embarrassing. Here's what I found out from Alan. Alan says, Eric, when I was doing that video the other day, he watched it and he said, because I said something about trying to figure out where your print is, because if this is down, trying to figure out exactly where that is. He said, and the video that he did a month or two ago, like I mentioned earlier, he did it on what he calls acetate. And then I realized believe it or not, I realized I did this like 3 years ago. And this is I'm embarrassed to say this. I've done so many videos, we've done so many videos, that sometimes I forget what I've done in the past. And we do so many.
Alzheimer's.
I constantly forget what I did yesterday.
Well, I'm catching up because I did this video. We did this video. Remember the compass sign that we did?
Yeah.
You filmed it, and I did this compass sign. And in fact, I wrote it down. Go back and watch video number 106. It's where I did a compass sign, and I did the layout on it. I did it on this acetate, or what we call transparency paper. But the reason I did it on the transparency paper is because I needed to invert it. That was before Rapid Resizer, and we didn't have Microsoft Paint or these programs that would allow you to mirror it. So what I did was and it was your suggestion, I did the copy on this transparency paper, and then I flipped it over, and then I did it on label stock, and I transferred. Anyway, if you go back and watch 106, the compass sign, that's the way I did it. However, what I didn't realize at the time, that if I had just left it on the transparency paper, is that backwards? Yes. If I had just left it on the acetate, I know that doesn't probably show up very well.
Well, it's fine. No, if you put it on the paper, it looks like, there you go.
If I had just left it on what Alan calls the acetate or the transparency paper, it makes a perfect thing to be able to see through, your paper that you're on to make your image. So I did one. I did one yesterday. This was the one that I did on the video the other day, which was 2:30, and this one I did just with one of these like last night. In fact, although I didn't bring your wooden
Yeah, I was
spoon
gonna
out.
say yours.
I didn't bring your wooden spoon out. But anyway, and here's the other thing, guys. Once you print on this stuff, be very, very careful. You don't move it around, and you don't. I'm going to do it this way. Wait a minute. Yeah, that one. Gosh.
Didn't plan this part, did you?
No, I didn't plan this part, and I need some tape. I need to tape that down. So, but we're doing okay on time. But I think this will be definitely my favorite way now to do it with this acetate. I'm gonna find something to.
There's just a handle on that.
Yeah, we could probably use that.
Yeah, a wooden handle on that thing.
Yeah. Again, this is very unrehearsed here, but you guys should be used to that. I don't like that. Let's try this. I think that's going to work out all right.
Normally you use one of Vicky's wooden kitchen spoons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy you your own set of wooden spoons. You can get them at a dollar store.
Oh, you big spender. You're going to go spend $1, huh?
Hey,
I can buy them on Amazon
there you go.
with free shipping.
Gosh, I hope this is going to come out. I printed this, when did I say? I printed this morning.
Oh, you
But
did
anyway,
this morning?
Alan's whole point was that if you're doing it on the freezer paper or the label stock, you can't see exactly where it's going to be. But with this transparency paper, and I'll show you the transparency paper box that we use.
Roy wants to know if you can use acetate with a laser printer.
I don't think so. But honestly, I don't know for sure. But I don't think so because the laser printer, remember, that does it with heat. And I think it causes it to dry like immediately. So I don't think so, but I haven't tried that. All right, let me see. Not bad. I missed kind of like right through here where that green is.
Sandy says you're lost without my
It's just for
spoon.
carving, so it doesn't have to be absolutely.
What's that?
Sandy Morris said he's lost without your spoon.
And the acetate, by the way, is what I used to use when I would make stuff that I was using my projector, and you can take something the size of a postage
Oh,
stamp
that turned out good.
and put it
Yeah,
in
not
a
bad.
projector and project it up the size of the side of a barn. I mean,
Yeah, you guys.
I used to use a projector a lot. I don't use it anymore, but I used to use it quite a bit.
That's
Yeah.
how I did the mural on the Winnie the Pooh mural on Rachel's wall when
Right.
she was a baby.
So here's the transparency paper that we use, and I think we've had this box for like 20 years. I don't know, something like that.
10 or 15 years anyway.
But again, the same with this. You can wipe this off and probably reuse it. So for me, this is definitely going to be my process until I find something better. But this is definitely a cool way to go. Now, I know you said you don't really need a perfect color in there. And some of you guys are going to print in black and white, and that's fine. But to be honest, some of the crafters are using this process, and then they're just putting clear over it. They're not making carved signs.
Yeah, I've
they're
seen
just
some
Better,
nice
you can
ones.
make signs just this way. You
They're-
can make
yeah.
signs.
Who was it that told you about the freezer paper?
Who told me about the freezer paper? Bill Hodgins, I think. William Hodgins.
Because he
I
does
think.
that. He does them right on. He makes
Yeah.
them like wood boxes and put the.
Makes like little toy
Beautiful, yeah.
boxes
Yeah.
or little
Right.
Carry
little tote
boxes.
trays
Right.
or something like that, and then they print them out color and then just put that on the side. It's really cool. So it's an old crafter's trick, but again, and I had originally seen this, and when I was kind of going through this, somebody said, "Hey, Steve Ramsey with Woodworking for Mere Mortals did the copying on label stock," and I went and watched that video, and it was like, man, I've seen that before. Well, I saw that before because that's the one that I saw that when I went to do the compass sign 3 years ago, back in 2014. So anyway, we do so many videos and I go so many different directions that sometimes if I don't do it on a regular basis, I have to relearn. But I'm hoping that 3 years from now I won't have forgot how I did this. But this
But
is
I
a great way
will
to
have,
go.
I guarantee you. Every once in a while, Eric says, "Oh, we just did that video, just a year or two ago. Don't you remember?" I don't remember.
It's tough when you I think we're over 650 videos now. We'll be 700 videos probably by the end of the year. But anyway, when you're doing so many different things. But anyway, this is definitely the way I'm going to go from now on, guys. If I have the opportunity. Print inkjet print on the transparency paper, then you can see exactly where you're at. You don't have to worry about trying to see through the label stock or the freezer paper. They both work. Obviously, they both work. But the transparency paper, man, if you've got that, that's the way to go for me. Okay, so
Good job, son.
thank you. I think I got all my points in that I really wanted to. Yeah, but the rapid resizer is what we use to mirror our images right now. Some people, if you have software to do it, hey, that's
Corel
great.
works well, but that's a very expensive program.
But the one thing that I don't think, and I might be wrong, the one thing that I don't think that the softwares will do, although I don't know for sure, will they break it up and print it into tiles?
None that I've used, yeah.
Into tiles so that you can lay out a big sign. That is just, man, I used to print them all out individually and try
I
and
remember
match
that,
them.
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was just hours of work. And the rapid resizer, just for that alone, in my opinion, is definitely worth it. Let alone, since you were carving signs, since I was a little kid, somebody would walk up with a picture of themselves on their motorcycle and say, and it's a photograph, can you make a sign out of this? Well, back in those days, you had to take that, and it was a pain. Now you've got the advent of softwares that
You
will
scan it and bring it into rapid resizer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
turn
literally
it
back
into
in the old days, I'd have to take that picture, put it on acetate, blow it up in the projector, and project it up onto a big piece of paper. Then take that piece of paper, lay it out, put it on the sign.
and pick the lines that you want to do.
Pick the
If
line,
it's
yeah.
a photograph,
Yeah.
you've got to pick the lines that you can do and
The
want to do.
rapid resizer,
It-
since it'll do it in a line drawing.
It'll convert it all from a photograph right to a line drawing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that is about it, I think, for our demos.
Are you going to do
Oh, yeah. Vicky's reminding me. Okay, so on the LTS, for those of you that don't know, on the live training sessions every month, that's when we introduce our new template of the month that you can either buy or the premium members get it in the next order that they order. So our template of the month for this month is in order. In regards to Halloween, let me see.
Yeah, don't put it next to the Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas with
Humbug.
with a skull and a top hat there. Does it show up?
Yeah, can you turn it the other way?
Oh, this way. Oh,
yeah,
that was
he
kind
had
of
some,
that was kind of
laser
the
burn.
burnt side. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Hold up. Keep that there.
Would it be better on the white
Nope,
paper?
just keep it there. Move it.
My nose started to itch.
We'll
Sorry.
stop that. Okay.
So that's our new template of the month for the month of October, which starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll send out the premium member code to.
Yeah, the premium member discount code. And here's what it looks like carved both ways. I'm not sure which one I like.
Hold it up a little bit.
I think Vic said she liked the inset
I
one
like
better.
that, yeah.
Yeah, inset and outset.
All right, hold on. Remember,
So-
running 2 cameras here.
So now this is not, so you guys, because somebody will ask, this is not part of the Halloween set. The Halloween set, actually I still have the board on the Halloween set. I'll show it since we got a minute or two. That look good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
we got plenty of time.
so here is the
I'm not gonna zoom. I'll
Yeah.
scan.
here is the Halloween set.
Your cup is in the way.
My cup's in there. Oh, well I was gonna scan it. I was gonna do that.
No, just.
No, is
hold
that
it
not
still.
good? All right. So anyway, that's the Halloween set. So this, what are we calling this guy? I don't know. You got
Skull, happy skull or happy skull hat. I don't know. He's a
happy skeleton.
a skull with a hat.
Yeah,
Skeleton.
top
I don't
hat,
know.
skeleton, top hat, whatever. But
He's
anyway,
not on the website yet,
so
but
he's-
he will be
yeah,
today.
he's not part of the Halloween set. This is the Halloween set, which is pretty cool. These are really fun to carve, by the way. Some people are really into Halloween. It's not my thing, but some people really dig it. Okay. All right. You done with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, any questions? Anything we can answer for you? I'm going to get this stuff out of the way.
All right, just call me.
Are we going into questions and
Oh,
answers?
Scully. Nick Lewis got a good name for him. Scully. I like it.
Scully?
Scully.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
You know,
to...
like, what was that show on TV?
Which one?
The one with Scully and
Oh, Scully and Mulder.
Mulder and Scully.
X-Files.
X-Files, that's it.
Or I used to call it X-Files.
Randy Noble says, even Fred.
Fred.
I hear that, I think of Sully, that captain that landed that plane after
Oh,
he
Captain
flew into a
Sullivan.
flock of
Yeah.
birds, landed that plane in the river.
Yeah,
Captain
Tom
Sully.
Tom
That says
Hanks.
Scully McScully.
Yeah. All right. So,
All right, let's.
any questions?
That's a good name, Scully.
I'm gonna scroll back up. So
Maybe that should be a regular thing that we should ask the audience what to name the premium,
Oh,
the
very
member of the
good,
month.
yeah.
I think that would be a cool thing to
let's
do.
see. I gotta go way up
I
here.
like
so
that.
make sure I didn't miss.
You're
any
looking for what, questions?
Questions,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I gotta go. I'm scrolling.
All right. So ask your questions, guys. Let's see. We're going to be doing another multi-video series here pretty soon. Made it.
We're not doing any more LTSs this year, though.
Yes.
Yeah, we
we
are. But we're not going to do them in November and December. November, December, because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's when we don't do the live training
So
sessions.
we'll do one more in October.
We'll do October, yeah. I don't know what the date is, but the last Saturday in October, we'll do one more for the year.
Hold on.
It's hard to believe we're coming down to the end of the year already.
Michael, Shirley, how I'm not sure what your question is. How do on the road in Texas? Oh, how do
How do?
He's on the road in okay. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
that's
how
not a
do what?
question.
Okay.
That's a
okay, that's
greeting.
a good morning.
That's a greeting. How
Sorry.
do?
Them Texas people.
He's a Texas guy. Okay.
Georgia, Texas. Hold on, we've got a bunch of stuff here. Pennsylvania.
People that are saying hi or
Yes,
questions?
Alabama. I'm just kind of. Oh, Brad and Diana. Hi, Brad and Diana.
From Australia.
From Australia. Okay, so Gus said that Malta is, hold on, below Sicily in the Mediterranean.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. I knew it was over in that Mediterranean
I'm
area.
trying to make sure. Let's see. There's a bunch of stuff, so bear with me. A lot of it is when people just join in, it tells me, oh, Renee. Aunt Renee is there.
Oh. Oh, by the way.
Renee's on?
She was. I don't know if she's still there.
Hello, daughter.
By the way, we're going to be doing more interviews like we did with Dan and Michelle. We've got some more interviews planned within the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something. A lot of people were saying they had internet. Some people said they just rebooted and everything was fine.
Huh.
Justin Miller, he says, I've used hanger bolts on the back of large signs to mount to posts.
Hanger bolts. What's a hanger bolt?
Jonathan Whitaker from England, he's here.
Jonathan
Send
Whitaker.
us a picture of those hanger bolts so we'll know what you're talking about.
Jonathan Whitaker.
South Yorkshire, they were here. Dan Stanley, he says he's not wild about some of your hanging ideas. One I use is a flat 1/8" strap on each side, then a chain
That's a
link.
good way to do it.
Yeah.
I've used those what they call mending straps.
Yeah.
I've used those in the old days, and they work out good. They're put on usually with fairly small screws, which I don't like, but mending straps is a good way to hang a sign if you've got a place to hang it.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess, use paint and Inkscape.
Inkscape? Yeah, we've used Inkscape before.
Morgan says he uses Photoshop.
Uh-huh.
How do you get the paper to lay flat when you tape it to the freezer paper to the other paper? How does it lay flat? You just got to pinch that
Yeah.
tape. Just really pinch it.
Do I still have it here? Yeah, it lays pretty flat. Once you tape it, what do I do with it?
Yeah, but you really got to pinch it because one time I didn't pinch it tight.
Yeah.
And it grabbed the papers uneven and just crinkled and ended up stuck in
Yeah,
my
so
printer. So
that's what we do. We just kind of crease that thing.
use a pencil, use something to really
Just kind of crease that, and it lays pretty flat.
You could even use two-sided and put it underneath
Well,
in
then-
between them.
Mm.
But
No, because it's got to catch
No.
that edge. That's the problem. It's
Two-sided, what do you mean? What do you mean?
two-sided
well,
tape.
two-sided tape, just strip
Yeah.
it down like that, where both of them are held together.
Oh,
The
underneath.
the printer's going to grab it.
So Frank says when you do wipe off that whatever paper, the
The label?
just use a paper towel, no chemicals.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Good. Don't use your finger.
Don't use your finger because you're going to make a mess.
Yeah.
Nick Lewis asked, and this is in regards to the video with Dan and his trailer. It says, "Would you have the size of the enclosed trailer? Do you know the size?"
You know,
of the trailer?
I didn't measure that, and I didn't ask Dan at the time, and I don't think he said. But gosh, I would say, if I had to guess, I would say it's probably 14 feet inside.
That'd be
Probably 8 by 14.
8 by 14 or
I
8
think.
by 12.
I
You
think.
can always
yeah.
get in touch with Dan. He
Yeah,
can
and somebody
understand.
asked on the YouTube channel too, and I'm hoping that Dan will answer that in the comments.
Okay, I think you answered this one, but can you use acetate with a laser printer? You said, yeah.
I think you can, but I just don't think it'll transfer. I think much like the freezer paper.
It'll print on it, but it won't transfer because the ink dries almost instantly on a laser printer.
And that's what causes the transfer to happen. And I had another kind of another gentleman was emailing me, and he was confused because he thought that you had to wait until this stuff dries in order to transfer, but that's the opposite. You want it to stay wet, and that's what makes the transfer work so well.
Okay, Dana Stanley says they make a Teflon paper for heat transfer, like for T-shirt graphics.
Yeah.
You can buy it at Walmart.
Yep.
He said, I bet that would work good. I'll try it and let you know. So
It actually does. I've used the transfer paper for T-shirts. We bought some online, and you can use an iron and you can use heat to transfer that over. And it works okay. I didn't really like the results near as well as I did this. And I used a little heat transfer tool, like one of my transfer videos. I used a little heat transfer tool, and it worked okay. The problem that I had mostly, oh, by the way, before I forget, make sure your board is nice and smooth. Sand it down smooth. 180, 220. Make sure your board is smooth. That'll give you a better image when you transfer. But one thing that I didn't like about the heat transfer is it kind of left a texture, kind of a gumminess from the actual transfer paper on the board, and it didn't make the router base slide so smooth. So it wasn't my preferred way. It will work, but and if you happen to have sanding sealer on there, it really makes a mess because the heat kind of reacts to the sanding sealer. Whereas the one that I did the other day, that 230, actually had sanding sealer on pine, and I just kind of roughed it up a little bit, or smoothed it down actually, from the sanding sealer, and it transferred really, really well. That was that Santa Claus, or that snowman.
Smoothing it down, you did with what, 440 paper?
Just with a piece of sandpaper. Just with a hand piece of sandpaper.
All
I
right.
did it on 230.
Dan Yodis says,
Hey,
New
Dan.
York.
Dave, where have they been hiding you? Great to see you back in front of the camera.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, we let him out of his room today.
Yeah, I'm semi-retired now. I do a lot of, they let me do a lot of stuff and working my tractor and clearing property and
They
pulling
let
a
me.
drag
They
and
let
stuff
me.
like
They
that.
let
right.
me. Yeah. Like he doesn't call the shots around here.
Frank Jenkins says working around the knots just became a lot easier.
Oh,
Your
with that
layout,
transparency, yeah, that's true. Good point.
Okay, Sandy Morris asks, where's the best place to find the Christmas images? I put everything, I go to Google. Everything is in Google. If it has a watermark, can't use it, it's going to show up on your sign, and it's trademarked. So Google it, see if you can find it without...
Vector stock
Vector stock is where
is
you
a
can...
good one. It costs you $1, but they have thousands of images on any subject that you can think of. I don't care. You could go in there and put jellyfish, and you would get 1,000 different pictures of jellyfish, and nearly all of them are line drawings. And you can buy $20, and it gives you 20 credits. And then no matter what you do, your vectors will cost you $1 a piece.
That's not true. Some of them cost $3. Some
Well,
of them cost more.
Oh, really?
Every
yeah.
one that I've ever...
Some of them, it'll tell you when you go to look at them, it'll say 1 credit or
1
3
credit
credits.
or 2
So,
credits,
yeah.
whatever. But
But
90% of them are 1 credits, and they're just phenomenal. You can't find anything like them anywhere. Vectorstock.com.
But some of them are actually multiple vectors within one.
Yeah.
Like we got one the other day that was 4 different images on one for $1.
Right.
You
Yeah,
might
correct.
get them with 12 different images.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can pull whichever one you want, you can use it. So
But it's really cool.
Vectorstock.com is a great place for getting...
And they're clear. If you go on Google, you're going to get a very pixelated picture.
Yeah,
But,
they're made for
yeah,
vectoring.
these are made
so,
for that. Okay.
they're really good.
Greg Bomba says, guys, I need to talk to you. I have a request. Unsure how to put what a customer wants for a sign. Give us a call if I can. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
just call
email.
Eric. Call Eric. He'll tell you how to do it.
Or email. Either way, Greg, we can do it either way.
Jonathan Epps.
John.
Would you guys be doing live classes again?
Yes.
Yes.
In the future.
We're just not sure when.
Not this year. Possibly
In
next year.
Arizona, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brad Allen Robb, copyright laws on downloads ? Yes, they have copyright. If they're just because, and I was told this by a printer, just because you see it on Google and it doesn't have watermarks doesn't mean it's not copyrighted. It just means somebody else has used it, cleaned it up, took all the copyright out, and re-put it on Google.
And that's
Oh,
another
that's
good
interesting.
reason for vectorstock.com. Anything you buy there is yours. You can use it for whatever purpose
As
you
many
we
want.
ought to
times
be
as you
getting
want.
some money for this vector stock, but we're not.
Yeah, we do commercials for other people all the time.
Well, I just try to be helpful. If I make, if I've never given any information away that didn't in some way come back to me. I spent my whole life helping other people do different things, but somehow, even if I didn't get paid for it, somehow it came back to me.
Yeah.
So I
Just
don't
what
worry
we
about
do.
telling people secrets or anything. That just doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Greg Bybee.
Yeah.
Will the template of the month next month be a Christmas one? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I just got this one done, and
I think probably.
maybe.
I think probably Vicky will decide.
I think
that's
Vicky
what I
will
meant to
decide.
say.
I thought that's what you
Yeah.
meant to say. Yeah.
You just didn't let me finish.
Yeah. Friend Jenkins says you have to start carving into the wall behind you. I can't stand seeing that much wood without a carving on it. No.
Yeah,
We're gonna
you
put some
mentioned
stuff
that
up
before,
there.
Frank, but I just
Well, my idea was we take some of our templates and put them up there so people can see the different templates. But
that may happen, but it will be attached to that rather
Yeah.
than
It is
carving on a
an
vertical
overlay.
wall. I've done that, but it's not a lot of fun.
No.
I've actually have done that.
Andrew Houghton. Freezer paper to lay flat to feed into printer. I'm thinking, I'm not sure. Some printers, the freezer paper will go through. Some it won't. That's why we do the page
Yeah,
printer.
my printer, although it's because I kind of modified my printer, but
Yeah, you beat the hell out of it.
well,
on the bottom.
it was. Here's what happened. My printer, it was working great, and then all of a sudden, it wouldn't grab my regular
And it's a
paper and
new-
feed it
was
in.
a new printer.
And it was fairly new. I don't know, several months old. So I took the cartridge out and I'm messing with it, trying to get it. And finally, I flipped it over and it looked like there was a spring-loaded thing. And I went, bam! And I punched it, put it in. It's been working great ever since. Now it even pulls in the freezer paper.
Yeah, I'm
so
not
it's somehow it
punching
kind
mine.
of, yeah. Anyway,
So
that's-
Roy Smith,
that's why HP stands for handy punch.
yeah. Roy Smith says I use Print Shop 20 and Posteriza, whatever. We'll have to look into rapid resizing.
Yeah, Posteriza, we've used that before, and it actually works good. I like the rapid resizer a little bit better.
Mark Stallings said I went to Lowe's to get some fence boards. They have switched to redwood instead of cedar.
Huh.
Do you look for the same things with either one?
Okay, so
That's a good question.
here's the thing. Here in Bullhead City, they started carrying redwood fence boards as well, but they still have cedar, and now they have redwood as well. In fact, that piece of wood that I showed with the, well, wait a minute, is that redwood? No, that's cedar.
That's
but
cedar.
I've got the first responders over there that I carved in redwood. I like them both if they are true redwood. Now, they used to have a fence board that they called redwood, but it was junk wood with a redwood stain poured on it. That stuff, I've tried it. It is firewood as far as trying to make signs out of it. So, it depends.
Makes a hell of a fence, though.
Yeah, it depends. So this redwood, and I've got it, this is what it looks like rough, like the cedar. And I like this actually better than the cedar because it's much thicker. It's almost 3/4 thick. And then, of course, this is the one that I carved the first responders in. So, I like the redwood actually if it's the same kind of
If
redwood
it's
that
good
we have.
redwood, if it's just that junk wood that they soak in redwood stain,
Yeah, God, that stuff
but you
is
can
horrible.
tell. Just pick it up. If it's nice, light, and solid wood,
Yeah.
it's good.
And if the
if you-
stain doesn't come off on your fingers.
Most of
Right.
most of the Lowe's stores, they carry both. They carry the redwood
Well,
and cedars.
It depends on where you're
they're
at
All
geographically.
right, guys, we gotta go.
Okay.
We're getting rounding up. And it said, Dennis Andrews says, do your prices vary from doing signs in the shop compared to fairs or trade shows?
Yes. Yes. When I'm at a fair or a trade show, or like when I was up in Oakland for 6 years, a 6x24, I was getting 30 to 30. If I was there now, I'd probably get 35 or 40 for. When I'm selling those on the website, online, I generally am about around 50. So my prices, the Live to Ride side, when I was up there, I was selling them for 60 for the set. Online, they're about 90, I think is what they are. So yeah, generally I will discount when I'm selling direct because there's no shipping, no packaging, they go quicker, any number of things. I'm not putting a full finish on them. So there's reasons why, and it, you know, you're pricing them to sell.
We've still got, I'm sorry, I hate to cut that
No, that's all
short.
right.
We're not going to get to all the questions, unfortunately.
Okay.
One guy asked somebody, and I apologize, I didn't scroll back up, about somebody, a customer wants 2 toy boxes and they want carving on the boxes. How would you charge for that? Nick Lewis. Can we have Nick email Eric?
Yeah. So everybody that has questions that we didn't get to, please email them to me. Just take them and email them to me, because honestly, all of the comments and stuff, it's really hard for me to go through and answer them all on Facebook. So email them to me, eric@makeawoodsign.com, and I will answer all of your questions. Absolutely. Vicky's got a funny look on her face.
Andrew Houghton says, is that a coffee cup or a milk churn? It's a coffee cup. Oh, coffee cup.
Coffee cup.
All right.
It's water right now, but or a milk churn. a butter churn.
Yeah.
That's big.
All right. Let's see. Greg Bybee says, Vicky's the queen and she'll decide on the template.
Yes. Good answer.
Sorry, I'm just seeing if there's something we can. Charles Jett, yes. He says, have you tried the freezer paper with the laser printer? He must have missed the first part.
Yeah, I showed it at the very beginning. It doesn't. It prints fine, but it doesn't transfer at all.
Hold up that first responder sign thing real quick. That's for Terry Flood.
I have to dust it off. So this is the redwood, redwood fencing.
Okay. All right, that's it. We got to wrap it.
Okay, that is it, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I think we're actually over a little bit right now. If you have any questions, again, questions that we didn't get to here, email them, eric@makeawoodside.com. This will hopefully be on YouTube by the end of the weekend, or at the very latest early in the week, depending on how the internet treats me.
And we'll see you next month.
Yeah, we'll see you next month, and we'll see you Monday morning on Coffee and Questions. So everybody have a great weekend. Thanks.
And just in case you want to know, I am boycotting the NFL. That crap about kneeling and the anthem, that's a bunch of bull.
I knew it was coming.
It was coming.
I knew
He couldn't get out
he
without
was
it.
just waiting for that. Yeah.
Right.
We stand. Let's just say
Yes.
we stand.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you, and see you next month.
Bye.